Hello everyone, this is Pino Trogo from San Francisco State University, and this is the Information Design Data Visualization class. And today we're just gonna take a look at some data from the Centers for Disease Control, actually, related to our second project, which is the small poster. So we're gonna go to our I Learn page and to the assignment. This is what you're seeing if you're in the class, and there's the assignment. So I will go over some of the links. First of all, the two articles about breast cancer are fairly old, 2013, 2015. Take a look at both and maybe do a little search and see if there is some new updated article in perhaps the New York Times as well. Then let's see if we can go a little big. Yeah. Then the two sources so the main topic of the assignment is that there is a disparity. The main subject matter is that there is a disparity between white and black, although that disparity among black women and white women for death rates from cancer, although that disparity apparently has been evening out more recently. So that would be an interesting thing to look at. The two sources that I gave in the assignment are this one, let's see, let's click on it. Yeah, the National Cancer Institute. And there is some information here. The other one is the Center for Disease Control. Okay. So I'm going to quickly go over both of them and see what you could get in terms of data. So on the first one, let's see, yeah, here. So it says breast female. Yeah, if you click on Cancer Statistics Review, 1975 to 2017, then you can click on Browse the Tables and Figures. And now you can select the type of cancer. So let's see, breast. And we can select all kinds of things. And I think I selected here annual death rates, table 4.9, annual death rates, and also, sorry, table 4.9, and then figure 4.9. So let's just do that. So we're just going to go step by step here. So of course there's a lot more, and if you're interested and want to compare some other things, you could pick some of these other tables. So if we go to annual death rates, table 4.9, say submit, we get this table, which is going from, well, I guess it has the average for the entire period, 1975, 2017. So it starts at 1975 and it goes all the way to 2017. And you could try to do a cut and paste, but actually, and these are the rates for all races in the first area, white females in the second, and black females on the right. And then there's this further split between younger than 50 and older than 50, but we will not look at that. We'll just take the first column, all ages. So somewhere here you should be able to download. Yeah, here it is. So go to, let's see if I can enlarge it even more. Download and print. So download the data because we want the actual spreadsheet. So if we say download data, section 04, table 09, comma separated value. So somewhere Let's see if we got it. Yeah, here. I got it on my desktop. And what I'll do now is I'll just put it in a folder where I keep everything just to make sure. And it should be here. I'm going to keep both because I already have it. I don't want to mess up my earlier links. So let me open it real quick. So if I double click on it, by default on my computer, it opens it up in Text Wrangler, which is my text only editor. Okay. And as you can see, it doesn't look so great, mainly because it's just text, but also because I see that it has all these little quotation marks, which it's saying that this is text and it's rather than just numbers. And for our purposes, we probably want to get rid of those. Let me just quickly show you how I would get rid of it here. First of all, though, we would want to get rid of this extra stuff that we don't need. Even though it doesn't look aligned, it is actually pretty well aligned because of the commas. So let me get rid of the extra stuff. And then what I'll do now is I'll get rid of all the quotation marks. So what I do is I select, sorry, it's a little small. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Well, I select the quotation marks, I do a copy, I do a find, and it brings up this search and replace. So I paste that, and then I replace with nothing, and I say replace all. So instantly I've got rid of all the commas, which is, I mean, of all the quotation marks, which is great. And now I noticed though that, let's see, there is also a little bit, if I go back to the website, even though it's not shown here, I remember that there is something, let's see, all races, all ages, ages 50, ages 50 plus. So yeah, I noticed that there is an extra comma here, which we need to get rid. So all races, females. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means I have 10 columns. So what I want to make sure is I have 10 columns there, but I'm gonna go back to that later because now I need to see exactly what those headers are. Okay, so I'm gonna save as with a different name here. And in general, this is a lot of the work that needs to be done before you can even begin to do the visualization. Because let's see, I'm going to call it temp because it's important to have the data before you can do anything else. Save. Okay. On this program, if I quit, it actually is going to save the last view. So anyway, let's download it again. All right. And now instead of just double clicking on it, I'm going to open it in Excel. Even though it's a text file because it's comma separated value file, it's a file that Excel can read. And let's see if it's happening. Yeah. And interesting enough, you can see now the quotation marks are gone, which is actually pretty nifty. That's nice. Although you can't be sure that they're really gone because this is Excel and every cell could contain all kinds of formulas and crap, but just make it bigger. Just make it really big. Okay. Now notice that actually the extra comma I was talking about, in fact, in some cases there is even two, and that's what was throwing me off, are in this header text. Okay, and that's what we didn't want to keep. Okay. So we could do a couple of things. Well, let's do the same thing here where we get rid of these extra rows because we don't need them. Okay. And also down below, if you remember, oops, let's get rid of that. Some programs probably wouldn't matter if you leave this in, but for our purposes, you definitely want to get rid of them because we don't have, or at least the way we use the programs, it's not that sophisticated. So we try to keep it simple. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and actually get rid of those commas because they could cause trouble later on. Okay. And even though, again, now for us, we're not going to need all these rows, it's okay to leave them in because you never know if you might need them later. Oops. And from experimenting earlier with this, I noticed that now if I'm going to save this file, again, as a comma separated file, automatically, for some reason, it got rid of the extra quotation marks. Okay, so I'm just making sure I don't have, and I'm not sure if this character is also problematic because it looks like code, so I'm just going to change that to a minus there, just because. Okay. In other words, it looks like a bracket that you might have in, HTML or some other code, and we want to keep it. There we go. These names are pretty long, so eventually you might, who knows, maybe you want to shorten them, but for now, we'll leave them. Okay. So this now looks clean. I'm going to go back to smaller size. Oops. Select all. Okay. This looks pretty good. It's got 2 decimal places, which is good for us. And this is, again, death rates. Okay, so that means these numbers are per 100,000 female population. Okay. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to get rid of this first row, okay, which is the average, I believe, for the entire period, okay, because we don't want that. Yeah. So let's delete that. And now it's clean, just the years and all the data, okay? So I'll do a save as. And again, I'm going to save as comma separated value, okay? So I'm just going to call this temp2. And I'm going to save it into the same folder where I'm working. Okay, so that's one file. Sorry, let's just quickly look at it again. We're going to open it here. I'm going to open it again with the text wrangler, which is the text only, to see if in fact get rid of the quotation marks just by doing that. Yeah, and it did. So that's good. All right. So let's go back to our assignment here and let's click on the second link. And once again, you could decide to find something else. Obviously, there's more than we need here, but for the purposes of the assignment. Oh yeah, the other one was figure 4.9 from the same menu, which is basically the same thing with a figure. Okay, and this is the death rates again. And if you look at white and black, which is this green cross and purple dot, we'll see later that these two lines are derived from two of the columns in that data set. Okay. Let's see, how is this different from the other one? I think the columns that are the same are this one, white breast and black breast. In fact, we could just quickly do a spot check. Sometimes after you do this work, which is, sometimes cut and paste, sometimes editing, it's a good idea to do like a so-called spot check. Just take a couple of places and see if it matches to make sure we're dealing with the same information. So now what I'll do is actually I'll reopen that file and I'll just check 1975 white and black rates, 32, 30. Let's see if it's the same thing. And now it's a little hard here because it's not aligned. So let's open it with Excel instead. Open recent. Let's see. Okay, so this is tedious stuff, everyone. Of course, you can kind of tell that, I bet. But it does it's important because then later you're dealing with the right stuff. So that's what we wanted to look, right? All ages, black, and somewhere here, white female, all ages, and black female. And so those two for 1975 are 3179 and 2949. So I think it's correct. It's basically 32 and 30. And if we go back here, yeah, it's 32 and 30. Okay. So we just determined that this basically has the same data that we're interested in. And so in theory, you could just, cut and paste this data, or you could download is there a download here? Yeah. You could download the data. Oops, no, I guess you can't. I guess it's really just a page showing. Now, what you don't want to do, of course, is, except for sketching perhaps, is take a picture of this and put it in your assignment, right? That's in your final assignment. You want to be able to replicate this. Okay, so we're not going to deal with that. Instead, we're going to go back to our assignment. And this was, again, the first link brought us here. See if we can go back to it. And I believe we got there by going this. Yeah, and then going here, cancer statistics review, browse the tables and figures, okay? I hope you're not hearing this jackhammering. It's Saturday, but they're working. Okay, back at the assignment. So let's see something here. Yeah, back at the assignment. The second link is actually, that was the Cancer Institute. This is actually from the CDC. And so I'm going to click on that, and it brings us to the statistics page. And there's a data visualizations link on the very front. So we're going to click on that. And it brings us to this page, which is actually great because it has a ton of stuff. The only problem is a little bit clunky, and it's not always intuitive. So let me see if I can enlarge it a little bit. So what it has pretty much every kind of statistics. And it starts out with the United States, and it goes like you have all the states here, okay? So you could do every state, but we don't want to because, let's see, you have to click anything? Okay, you have to pick something. You have to pick a type of cancer. Also, if you say female or male, it will reduce the choices. So we're going to say female, and we're going to say here, it's not under breast, it's under female. Right here, female breast. And still doesn't change. And then here you can pick the rate of new cancers, the rate of cancer deaths, the new cancers, and the number of cancer deaths. So the number means absolute numbers, right? Per state or whatever, whereas the rate usually is per 100,000. And new cancer means the incidence, and cancer deaths means the actual death rate. I don't know why the map is not changing, but let's see. Probably, let's see Alaska. If we click on Alaska, no, it just opens it up. Well, let's go step by step. We need the overview because we want all the states. Then we go to United States right there. Let's just go for now, just for deaths, okay? Rate of cancer deaths. And you can see the map, they change here. Now, when you're here, in theory, you can just like, let's see, you could export this, and it even says export the map. Now, don't do that except, again, for sketch purposes, because the map as it is, especially if you're just doing print, doesn't give you much information, doesn't even have the names of the states on top. What you really want to get is the data, okay? And let me see if I can enlarge, yeah. So if you say export, we're going to export the data, okay? There's no point in cutting and pasting from a website like this. I mean, you don't learn anything. Okay, so again, we're going to do it. United States, we're going to say the rate of cancer deaths. I'm going to say female breast. And here the choice is between just the last available year, which is 2017, or the range of 2013, 2017, which I'm guessing it's the average of all those years. So for now, I'm just going to pick 2017, and then all races and ethnicities. Unfortunately, for our purposes, there isn't one that just combines the white and the black in a single, okay? So what we'll have to do is get first the white and then the black, okay? So let's try with white and 2017. So let's see, just to make sure that things are in fact changing, let's toggle between white and black and see if the map changes. It does, okay. If you see at the bottom here, so that's, make sure you know something is happening. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, for black, some states' information is not there at all. Oh, it says you why, because fewer than 16 cases were reported. So if the if there was less than 16 cases, I guess 16 deaths. I don't know what that means. It might mean fewer than 16 per 100,000, which would be weird. Yeah. So for whatever reason, this data it's basically not reported in this data set, which is kind of a pain because it leaves blanks. For some reason, when you have the 2013, 2017, there's less of a problem. So, you have to decide. I'll show you what I did later. I basically got rid of those states completely because, again, for our purposes, we can just, do whatever we want for our assignment. Okay, so white, 2017, female breast, female under sex, rate of cancer deaths, and then the United States. So we're now going to we're not interested in this because it has all the other cancers, although of course you could do a comparison and you can see breast cancer is pretty much up there, except for lung. Okay, so let's say export data. And let's take a look at it. By the way, when you export from those pages, every file has the same name, so make sure you rename them pretty quickly. So right now I'm going to rename this file. Let's see, I'll say US cancer, breast cancer, breast cancer. Let's see, it was white 2017. Okay, so I'll double click on it to see what it looks like as a text file, and it's not pretty because in this case it's got all little quotation marks bracketing each little bit of data. So that's not so great, and I could still probably get rid of that by doing again a search and replace. So I'm selecting the little quotation mark, I'm copying it, I'm finding now that, I'm pasting it into the search field here, and I'm replacing it with nothing. I'd say replace all, and actually that did clean up the file pretty much in one shot here. So that's actually pretty good, and I'm going to save that. Let's see, yeah, I'm going to save it. I have to do it here, save as. I'm going to say temp 1. Leave it alone. And now I'm going to open that same file in Excel and see what it looks like. And as you can see, it has all these little guys, right? So now, because I don't want to deal with it here, by the way, let's look at it. Let's look at the data though. All right. So some columns, they're really kind of useless for us later on, okay? So we know it's breast cancer, we don't need that column. We know it's the year 2017, we don't need that column. We know it's white, we know it's female. So all those columns, eventually we get rid of it. And area here, by the way, eventually we'll replace with state. So what we really want is age-adjusted rate. And by the way, this age-adjusted, that just means that the rate was weighted depending on how many cases for each age group and divided by a percentage, so forth and so on, to get a number that's more representative and for the population, the different age groups, rather than everybody, because obviously little kids don't get it, so they would be misrepresented. And the death count, again, is the total death count for that year in that particular state. Okay, so it's useful, but for us, the rate is really the most important thing. And the population could be useful later. The population is the state population based on probably the census before, which I guess would have been 2010. All right, so I don't like this, and I don't want to deal with it in terms of all these little things. Again, it's possible that maybe Tableau won't care that you have these little marks, but I don't like them, so I will close this. And in fact, what I'll do now is I'll open the file, the one that I saved, right? The one that I got rid of already which was this one. Yeah, where I've already gotten rid of the little quotation marks. If I open that now in Excel, which I can, you can see that it's cleaner, okay? And that's nice, that's what I want. So again, for white, we have data for every state, right? It won't be so for black, which was why we're gonna need to get rid of, well, we could leave them in, but I'm afraid it will give us problems where the empty cells will be. So let's leave this alone for now. And let's download the black. So we go back to that page. Here we pick, everything stays the same, but now we pick black. And we export that, export the data. And again, it's the same file name, so you want to change that. And let's see, we called it, what did I call it? US breast cancer black 2017. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing because I know that works and cleans it up. So I got that junk. I'm going to select the little quotation mark. I'm going to do a copy of it. I'm going to find it using the search and replace and replace it all with nothing. And now I'm going to save that. And now, because it's easier to see in Excel, I'll open it in Excel. So now things are getting a little busy here. I'm going to that was the original. Let me just double check. Keep things straight, right? We want to make sure that, okay, so that's the file, and I called it temp1. So why don't I call this other one the same? Yeah. Okay. This is the black. I'm going to call it temp1 also. Okay, so these are fairly clean. I'll leave this alone here. I will now open both, because now what I need to do is I need to combine this data, because even though there are ways to have two separate files and pull data from two separate files into the same graph. Oops, this didn't work. That was not the right one. This is right. The white is right. The black was not right. For some reason it didn't save, so I'm going to do this again. Okay. Save. Yeah, so what I was saying was that you could combine different data, like say different columns from different files into the same graph, but it's a little bit trickier. So let's open these two again with Excel. So let's look at it a little bit more in detail. And now we have to be careful because, well, you can see there is this data suppressed part which we need to deal with. And again, if you're a statistician, you probably would know exactly what to do with it without causing problems, but I'm not, and you probably are not either, so we're going to get rid of it. So that's one file. This is the black. I'm just making it bigger so you can see. This is the white. And okay, so I don't know what they're sorted by, the columns. It could be by, let's see, population maybe. It's not by the rate, it's not sorted. So I believe, no, it's not even, it's just whatever order they happen to be. So what we want to do, okay, let's change this to state. All right. And here, this is my white file. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to change this name to white rate. Okay. And here too, because white count, I'll just say white count. Because since I'm combining the files, I want to make sure I don't mix them up, right? So that's white there. And here I'm going to make, okay, for some reason it doesn't want to move. All right. Again, I'm going to call this state. And just double check my title here. That's my black. So this is the black rate. And what did I call it earlier? White count. So I'm going to call it black count. Okay. So I'm going to make it smaller again so we can have a better overview. And we're going to do the same here because now we have to do a little bit of cut and paste. Select all, make it smaller. And we just have to be a little careful now, you know, when, in other words, we don't want to mix up the states and the rates and all that. All right, so that's one. And we'll get to visualizing this data in a moment. Sorry, these videos are long, but it would take me probably a day to edit it and make it like a perfect television program, which I don't have the time to do. So we'll just have to be patient and just skip forward or speed up the speed of the tape later, okay? So notice that where the data has been suppressed for some states, it's been done both in the count as well as in the rate, both in the absolute number and in the rate. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll sort the data by, let's just sort it by the count. No, sorry, by the rate. That's what we want. Okay, so to do that, you just say, select that column. Under data at the top, you just say sort. We're in Excel again, and there is an alert that says, you have selected only some of the available data. Only selected data will be sorted. What do you want to do? Expand the selection. Yes, you want to do that because if you don't, it will sort only that column and leave every other column unchanged, which means all the data will be scrambled. So make sure the expand the selection button is checked, okay? And now it asks you, okay, which column? And here you pick the column that you want to sort by, and it's the black rate. Okay, smallest to largest. Actually, I want it largest to small. And say, okay, there we go. And you know that it did it right because, oops, it actually put, okay, it thinks data suppressed is a number, so that's why I put that at the top. But you know things did change properly because all these states have stayed together, right? But let's change it again because we want it. Let's just do smallest to largest. There. Yeah. Okay. So that means that all these states we should get rid of. But what we can do is create a new file and see if they match once we cut and paste from one to the next. So I'm going to also sort now in the white file. Okay, I'm going to go to select the column for white rate, say data, sort, expand the selection, yes, sort, pick the column, it's the white rate, smallest to largest, okay. And that's that. And so now basically what we want to do now is combine these two files or make it into one file. And as we do that, we want to make sure that the states don't change. Now, one way we do that, you can see now the states are not aligning because, of course, the rates are different for black and white. And so actually what we will do, we will actually sort again by state alphabetically so that when we compare the two columns, we can really see that they're the same and that, again, we have not scrambled anything. So I'm going to now create a new worksheet in this file. Let's just say it's the white file, okay? Eventually I'll save as and create a new separate complete file. So I'm just gonna actually duplicate my worksheet at the bottom here. I'm just gonna say move or copy. So I'll say copy and I'll say move to the end and I'll say create a copy. Okay, so that's now a copy. Let's see, we should, what I'll do actually is I'll just cut and paste all the states again. And I'm gonna sort first the column for the states. So data, I'm gonna say sort, expand the selection, yes. Sort by state, values A to Z, yes, alphabetical, okay. And that's nice because Alabama is first. Okay, so that's good. Now remember that the two columns that I'm interested in, well, the three really, although the population is the same, is the rate and the count. And everything else I really don't need here. So I'm going to delete a bunch of columns. I just have to remember later that I know, well, I have white rate, white count, so that's good. So I won't get confused. So I'm going to delete the cancer type, the year, the sex, and the race. Delete that. And now I have white rate and white count. And for now, what I want to do is insert the black rate and the black count. Okay, with the states being in the same position. So what I'll do is I'll insert, oh, okay, it inserted 4 columns all at once. I don't know why. I wanted to insert only 3, but that's okay. And now I'm going to my other file, and I'm going to select, in order to be sure that I don't mess up. First, again, I'm going to sort my states. So now I'm using the black file. Data sort, expand, yes. Expand by, sort by state, A to Z. Okay. So now, in order to know that I'm really not mixing things up, I'm also going to copy the state column, the Blake rate column, the black count, and why not even the population, just to be absolutely sure. Okay. So now that I've selected these three black columns, I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to go to my white, well, to my new worksheet in the white file, and I'm going to paste them there. And that's good, because now a quick look, so let me select all, a quick look at the states, it's telling me that I kept things in good order. You can see that they're all matching, okay? So with that in mind, I will do a little bit more of cleanup, because I can trust, and eventually, eventually it's again good to look at the data and say, oh, does that look right, this particular state. So let me see. I will now, yeah, black rate, black count, population, and you can see the population looks right too. Actually, it's funny, it looks a little different. So some states, I wonder if the population, oh, maybe the population is really referring to the white and black, because it does look different. So yeah, that's probably true, because yes, yeah, okay, so that's actually all right. So this may be useful, maybe not, I don't know, but it in fact does look like the population is not the total state population, it's rather the black population and white population, because the black looks less. Let's see, 3 million in Georgia, 3 million white, and only 1 million and 800, which Georgia being, yeah, looks probably right. It's about 2/3 of the white population. Yeah, whereas in Massachusetts, there's only 330,000 black, but almost 3 million. So it's almost like 1:10, the ratio. Okay, so that's good that we know that, right? Because who knows, we may need it later. So what we'll do now is I'll get rid of one state column, because we don't need two. And also for ease of reading, what I'll do is I'll make the black rate, I'll put it next to the white rate, and I'll put the count next to the white count. So let's see if I can move this. I can never do this thing where I move columns around. So, oh yes, let's say black here. Black population, because that could get confusing. White population, and yeah, so I'll just, because white is going to be lower, I tend to put it first to show the contrast. So here I'll just say what, I'll paste the black population there. Actually, I'll exit and I'll paste it there. Insert, cut cells. Okay. Now here I have to create extra columns. So again, I want to put white first. So I'll insert a column here, and I'll put after the white rate, I'll let's see, X this, and I'll paste it here. Insert cut cells. Oh, I see. It also inserted a column. White rate, black rate, white count. Okay, let's X that. Okay, white rate, black rate. I'm gonna white count. Let's see, cut, and put it there. Paste. Okay. So delete that. So this is what I wanted, right? I wanted the white rate and then right next to it, the black rate. It doesn't matter really where the columns are, but it's just more human readable this way. And then white count and black count, white population and black population. This is good. So what we want to do now is get rid of the states that have data suppressed, right? And let's see. Let's change it again to 12 points so we can see. But because, well, let's now sort by something. Let's just sort by black rate, because that will put the suppressed data at the bottom. So sort, expand, yes. Sort by black rate, smallest to largest. Okay, great. So this is now a little more neat for our purposes. And these are only the states we're going to consider. And again, some programs won't care if you have this data suppressed information inside a data cell that should have a number. But for now, I'm just gonna go save and I'm gonna get rid of it. However, just in case, I'm gonna save this worksheet. And actually I need to rename it because right now it's still called white, but this one now it's in fact white and black. Oops. For some reason I can't rename it. Let's see if it's... I don't know why it's not letting me. There we go. Okay. Rename. White, black. Maybe it's too long. So let's just say Bracken white. Yeah, that was it. The name was too long. US Bracken white, black 2017. And I'm going to say white, black, Bracken, white, black, sup for suppressed. And that's good. So I will now duplicate it again, okay? Because, oh, but actually now what I should do is save as this file as white, black too. And soup too, sup. Right, save that on the desktop. Save, cannot be saved. Well, actually I tried this and in fact it did save it for whatever reason. Yeah, it actually saved both, so I don't know. Okay, so this is my white, black, suppressed file. I'm gonna make yet another worksheet now from this one, so I don't save it. I don't lose anything. I'll say move or copy, move to end, and move to end, create a copy. Okay. didn't do it. Oh, maybe it's okay. All right, let's try it again. Oh, did it do it? No. For whatever reason. Yeah, no, it did. Okay, so I'm gonna rename this. I don't know. It's doing funny stuff. You might have noticed that I'm using a really old version of Excel. I have the newer version too, but yeah, I'm having some trouble here. For some reason, it didn't really create the, so it's okay. I'll just save this one as brick, white, black, clean. I'll just call it clean. And now I will get rid of these states. Okay. I do have them here, so I haven't completely lost everything if I get rid of them in the other one. So let's see, right here, just select those. And one reason you would want to keep it is because, in fact, for white, you do have the data, right? So if you wanted to do, let's say, a line chart or a bar chart of just that data, you would want to keep it. But so delete. And so now we have a clean file. Select all. And I'll make it big again to see. That has, it's sorted, right? It's sorted by something. And actually, for some reason, it's sorted by the, right, good. It's sorted by the black rate, okay? Right here, this column. So white rate, black rate, white count, black count, white population, black population, and state. And this is good. This is actually nice now. So I will save this. And it's still, my file is still called suppressed, right? So why don't I just say save first? And then I do yet another save as. And I'm going to call that clean. Eventually, I want to make all these names much shorter. I can. Clean. Again, I'm going to save to the desktop. I'm going to move them later. Comma separated value. Okay. Save active sheet. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to quit. Sometimes what I do is I just quit to make sure that I start fresh, so to speak. Lots of files. Okay, finally quit. So all the work to get basically one spreadsheet, but yeah. And these are some footnotes, which may be useful later. So let's reopen that file, and then if that looks good, I'm actually going to stop this video and start a new one for the actual visualization. So let's see, the one that's called clean is this one. Okay, I'm also leaving aside the one that had the longitudinal data for all the different years. So I'm going to open it in both in the text wrangler to see if it looks clean. It looks pretty clean, except that it picked up all those some extra empty rows, right? So you can see that could be a problem, maybe not, maybe yes. So I will actually get rid of those, okay? There. And just to, let's see, I'm just going to show you, let's see, show invisibles. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but each one of these is a hard carriage return. And in between, there's nothing else. It's just a little comma, so that means there is no extra spaces or anything. So that's nice and clean. So I'll save this. I'll quit. And now I'm going to open it with Excel. And just to be sure that I don't mess with it, I won't save this after I open it with Excel to see if, to just make sure that I left it alone after my... Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's great. So good. That's now nice and clean. And notice that, there is no commas for example, 1,000 separators. And that's really, really important because, again, we don't want to have extra stuff. So I'm going to quit this. Select all. But before I do, I'm going to just repeat again what we'll be looking at when we do the visualization. So it's a file that's called, yeah, I know this actually, it's nice because this is not just one worksheet. It's just the clean one. So we have states, we have the white rate per 100,000, okay? And again, this is just for 2017. Meaning for white in Minnesota, basically there were 17 deaths of female breast cancer per 100,000 female. And the black rate is actually lower in Minnesota. Okay, so quit without saving it because I don't want to have introduced weird stuff. And now I'm going to stop. Well, actually, what I'll do is I'll put it in the working, let's see. I'm going to put it in the working directory for Tableau. I'm just going to say new here. And also I'm going to put underscores. Again, it doesn't matter much, but sometimes some programs don't like spaces in the names of the files. And I'm going to call that new 2. And so these are the 2 important ones, and these I'm just going to put these under an extra files demo. I'm just going to say, just in case I need them. And so these 3 things now I'm going to stick into again, my working directory. I'm going to put it under the data sources. And I'll also put them a label. Let's see, I'll make them yellow. That way I know these were the ones. And originally I had another folder here that used, yeah, this is actually where I was working with the latest files. So I'll take that file, those two files, this one. Where are you? One is new there, that's new. So it looks like I lost one of the new things. All right, yeah. So it was this one. I'll put that back here. Yeah, because this is what I was working yesterday on my own. So now I have the new file I just created. And then here, yeah, that again is the longitudinal table. And I'll just leave it alone like that too. Okay, so I'll come back to this and we'll work on in Tableau with that file. Okay, so for now I'm gonna stop this.